Hi, it's late spring and we're back at Bochner Farms with Lori, who looks like she's getting ready to do some planting.
Just a little.
Yeah.
Just a little. Yeah, we are in the process. I've got a few things planted in the cottage garden already, and then I've got several different varieties here that are hardening off and will be planted in the next few days. So
Great.
we've got a lot of action. We start hardening them off about a week before we're going to plant them, and I usually, depending on the weather, I'll give them a little bit of time outside during the day, or if it's super windy, maybe a little less. If it's nice, maybe a little more.
Yeah, we've had a lot of 60-degree days this past week or so.
Yeah, and then in the evenings I'll bring them inside, at least after the first couple days. And then if the weather is in the 50s at night, then I'll leave them out about day 3 or day 4 all night long.
Okay.
So they get used to that temperature as well. So it's
Yeah.
about a week process, so they can gradually get used to being outside.
Yeah, they look really great. I mean, what do you have growing here?
So this is a mixture of what I'm planting in the cottage garden and what we plant in our cut flower field. So all these will not go in the cottage garden. But I've got a blue sage salvia that's an annual sage salvia and a red. These are two of my favorites that I plant quite a bit in the cottage garden. There's some verbena. This is verbena. I already have some verbena in the garden I can show you. And this is just going to go elsewhere around the farm. And then this zinnia is for our cut flower field. But this zinnia is Lilliput mix, and it is my favorite for the cottage garden.
Yeah. What do you like about it?
I like it because it's just the right height. It's about 18, 24 inches tall. So it's really flexible. I can use it a lot of places in the garden, and it's a mix. So lots of different colors, and it doesn't require deadheading.
Oh, nice.
Hardly at all. For some reason, I think I deadhead maybe maybe late July, early August, and then one more time. But it's super low maintenance. So it is a fan favorite.
And it's a double flower, right?
Yes.
Like those little
it's a
fluffy
very
ones.
fluffy zinnia. It's gorgeous.
Yeah.
So Lilliput. So all of these are going to go in the cottage garden.
Nice. And tall enough you could make a little bouquet with them, it seems like.
I could.
Yeah.
But we have an entire
That's true.
I usually don't do too much cutting in the cottage garden. I like to keep that full color. But
yeah, the color
you
outside.
Certainly could, make a good bouquet out of it.
To.
Absolutely.
Nice.
Absolutely.
Great.
So,
well, maybe we should take a few over to the garden and check out some planting tips you've got.
That sounds good. Let's go do it.
So Lori, the last time you were here, or we were here, you were going to move a lot of stuff.
Yep.
I see you maybe have gotten some of that done.
Some of it. Yeah, that's how it is sometimes with gardening. You have big plans, and then just the to-do list is longer than the time. So yes, I have gotten some of the stuff moved that I wanted to move that we talked about last time, and some not. So we can talk a little bit about what I got done, and then now what is going to happen because I haven't gotten done and my plan for that. So this is some yarrow. If you recall last time, it was completely spread like all through this entire area, and I want to plant some annuals over here, so I cut this all back. Now I've just got a small patch of the yarrow here.
Yeah, it looks good.
But yeah, this is spread like crazy, so I was digging deep to get the root systems out of there. Some of it I move elsewhere on the farm, and some of it I just throw in with compost pile.
Yeah, there's only so much room.
Yeah,
right?
and this stuff is so prolific. I don't replant this. I just hack away what I need, and the rest gets composted back to the earth. So that got done. There was a daylily over here, if you recall, called Liquid Lunch.
Yes, I love that.
They got crowded out last time by the dahlias. So I moved that over to the end. So now it's got its own space in the garden, and it will do great this year. And it's one of my favorites, called Liquid Lunch.
Yeah, and I can't help but notice some of you've got different bulbs blooming right now. Like there were tulips last time. Now
the tulips are gone. Tulips were here, and now the daylilies and the phlox are kind of taking over where the tulips were, and the allium, of course, is the star of the show right now. So it is doing really, really well.
Yeah.
I have some geum.
Oh yeah.
It's mango. That's blooming in a different garden, and it's the most beautiful orange. I think I'm going to wouldn't that look cool with the purple?
That would be beautiful.
So I think I might tuck in some geum, which won't help this year, but next year then this will be kind of an orange and purple.
That'll be beautiful.
After the tulips are done. And then I got some annuals. I'm just starting on the annuals.
Great.
So I've got some coleus here and a little bit of marigold planted.
Those will be very pretty.
And I love the coleus because it adds such fun foliage colors.
And there's so many different ones.
I know. It's great.
That yellow will be really pretty with the purple too.
Yeah.
And it's got the little purple veins to kind of
And we'll plant some zinnias. So the zinnias that are hardening off now will get interspersed throughout here as well. So I like the coleus with the zinnias together.
Yeah, that'll be pretty.
So that, and there's another coleus over here. So it'll be kind of a row of coleus and zinnias along here.
And what do you do about the tulips? Do you just let the foliage fade or do you cut them back?
So that's a really good question. Last year I let the foliage fade. So this is actually second year bloom. I'm going to reconfigure. I think we talked about that last time. I'm going to reconfigure how we do them.
Yeah.
I haven't decided yet which I need to decide soon, if I'm going to keep these and then just take my design and move, into them, or if I'm just going to pull these out and start from scratch. I'm kind of leaning towards pull out and start from scratch because I'm afraid I won't know where they were by the time I get to next fall.
Yes.
So I hate to sacrifice them because they probably would bloom one more year, but I may just pull them all out this year and start over next fall.
Start again in the fall.
Yep.
Sounds like a good idea.
Yeah. Should we go look at, I have some of the hyacinth bean planted too.
Let's go look
over here.
Look at that. So I think the hyacinth bean is looking really good.
Yeah.
I remember when we were here a couple of years ago, it was just covered.
Yep. So I do put plants on both sides.
Okay.
And I grew them from seed, and they're just tiny little cute babies now.
Yeah.
But by July they'll be climbed up, and then by August they'll be
kind of
fully
joined together
over together. Yeah.
So do you have to kind of direct them into, or do they just take off?
They're pretty good. Don't need to have a lot of training.
Okay.
Sometimes they'll kind of venture off, and then as other things get taller, they start to attach. So sometimes I have to put them up, but as far as vines go, they're one of the easiest.
They're easy,
I think, to train where they should be.
Yeah, and I like how the foliage has a little bit of purple in it too.
Yeah, it's going to be so great.
Great.
I love it. I've got hyacinth bean on these two arbors, and then the two at the other end of the garden as well.
Great.
So we'll have a lot.
That makes for a nice balance of in the whole garden.
Yeah, it's going to be really cool.
Keep the purple going too.
Yes, my favorite color.
And so you have the purple allium. What color is going to come next in this border?
So we've got this is Heliatris. It's a white.
Okay.
And then I've got some Veronica here that's coming in. It is a pink. So we'll have pink and white. That yarrow is a yellow. And then I've got the phlox is a mix of, it's red Riding Hood, and then there's an early crystal, which is kind of a white and red, and then this is a red echinacea.
Oh, pretty.
So it's a weird color combination, I know, but I tend to just throw all the different colors together and don't.
It sounds really pretty
adhere
though.
to a pattern.
Yeah.
And then I can't remember what color the daylilies are, so they'll be a surprise. But they're getting huge.
They are getting really big.
So I think I'll be splitting those either in the fall or next spring.
Okay.
Because I don't want anything to have too much space in the garden because I want lots of different things in here.
Yeah.
So
great.
they're getting big.
Yeah. Okay, we took a little detour, but back to moving plants.
Yes.
You were talking about moving yarrow, but then your sedum apparently needs some work too. Huh?
Yes. In gardening, sometimes things just get out of control before you can take care of it.
Yeah.
But it's okay. All is not lost.
It's true. It's
this is a variety of sedum. It's sedum Aizon, Aizoon. I grew it from seed back in 2021.
Okay.
Maybe early 22.
Yeah.
I planted it spring of 22. So it is now in its third year. It is huge.
Yeah.
It's outgrown this space.
It's beautiful. I mean, it's looking great.
It is beautiful. But I can't have 3 on each side because it takes too much space in the garden. And I'm concerned because I'm going to plant Mandevilla vine in here.
Yeah.
And since the sun kind of shades that, I want the Mandevilla vine to do well. So what I'm going to do is dig up the entire plant. So I have little flags marking where I have to do some digging.
Yeah.
It's going to be a 2-man job at this point because they're huge.
Yeah.
But I'm going to just dig the entire plant. I'm probably going to end up digging all 3. And then I will put 1 here and 1 here, leaving this central space open. And then I'll just take the 3rd one and put it someplace else. And then I'll probably do opposite side over there. So there'll be 2 here. Yeah. But when you do it at this phase, it requires a lot of extra work, not only because the plants are heavy, but we have these gravel pathways.
Right.
And any amount of dirt on this gravel will end up being a weed
Yeah.
at some point.
Yeah.
So we'll probably have to lay a tarp down,
Mm-hmm.
which will be helpful because then when I take the big plants, I can just set them on the
Yeah.
tarp,
Mm-hmm.
and then we can pick up the tarp, and then there'll be no dirt. But
Mm-hmm.
it's going to be a 2-man job, and it's going to be a bit of a pain.
Yeah.
But I have to do it now. There's no more delaying because I'm going to plant annuals in these spots. So
yeah, you've got the flats.
they're hardening off out there. They're ready to go.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, so this will be a job probably in the next few days,
Mm-hmm.
so that we can get the annuals.
Great. And I'm sure, I mean, it's sedum. It'll recover.
Yeah.
You probably won't even notice. It won't even look like it was moved.
Yeah.
So.
It's a beautiful sedum. I love
Yeah.
it. It's got a little bit more fine foliage than some of the other varieties.
It is. And I'm so impressed you started it from seed.
Yeah.
I mean, I've never started it from seed. So that makes me want to try it.
Yeah, it worked. So now I'll have some extra plants to put elsewhere around the farm.
Nice. And then as we were coming in, I noticed you have some containers. You're going to,
I have flats with some flowers to put in these pots over here.
Great.
Should we go check it out?
Of course. Yeah, I want to look at it. Lori, I love the pots you have here with your pergola. Are they concrete, or what is the material they're made of? I
just got these at like Home Depot or Menards in
cool.
their garden center last year. I just like the size, I like the color of them. So I have had mixed success with my containers. They've just been green blobs, and I really want a lot of color in them this year. So I'm doing something different. I did partner with our local garden center to help me design. So I am very excited. This year I'm upping up my pot game, but we've got white mandevilla. It's the Grand Parasol Giant White. So we'll have the white mandevilla there.
Yeah.
And then I've got a couple of these salvias, Rockin' Deep Purple.
Cool.
From Proven Winners.
Oh, yeah.
So we're going to have a couple of those on the back here near the posts. And then it's going to be surrounded by this jazzberry.
Very pretty.
And so they'll be white with purple and pink.
Yeah.
And it should just be a show-stopping color.
Yeah.
And these jazzberry supertunias will kind of spill out a little bit.
Yeah. Nice.
So I think it's going to turn out. I'm finally going to have beautiful pots under my pergola. So I'm looking forward to that this year, and we're going to be planting those today.
Great. That's wonderful. Okay, so we've got some of these plants that you're going to put in the garden. What are you going to put in today?
So I'm going to put in just a few of the red and the blue sage salvias, and then I'm going to put in a few of the lily puts today. The zinnias.
And you kind of have a special way of planting, so I want to see that.
I have a weird way. My brain doesn't like to do back and forth a lot of things. I like to chunk out activities. It just seems like it goes faster.
It makes sense.
So I use a butter knife, and I actually don't take the whole flat out into the bed. I use a butter knife, and I get the plants out of their little cells carefully, and then I just set them in a tray. So whatever I'm going to plant, I just put in there all together and just take them out into the field versus having to lug a bunch of trays out there. It just works for me really well.
Yeah.
So I need 3 of these, I need 3 of these, and I need 7 of those. So I'm going to go ahead and just get those all out of the trays, and we'll go to the garden.
Okay.
And the butter knife works so easily to gently coax these out. It's not fancy, but
no, but it works.
It works. So I have 3 of those. And then sometimes there's a little thinning that needs to happen. So we'll thin that out and take this guy. So 1 of those. And I don't need to label them because I can tell the foliage what's what.
Okay.
If I had a bunch of different colors, of the same plant, I would separate them by flat so I know what color's what.
Oh, yes, good plan.
But these guys I already know.
Yeah.
That needs to be thinned. Sorry. I feel bad for the rejects that don't get to go in the garden.
I know. I always feel kind of guilty.
There's 3 of those, and then we'll grab 7 of the Lilliput mix. It's like, come on, baby. 1, 2. These are ready to go. Look at those roots.
Yes, they look wonderful. So are you just choosing ones that look like they've reached a certain height?
They've been in the trays all the same amount of time. So
yeah, if you
I just kind of grab whatever.
Sure. The roots all look, even though some are different heights, the roots
all look amazing. And these will all go into the garden within the next few days.
Okay. All right.
So that's what we'll take out to the bed.
Great. Lori, I noticed when you were pulling them out, you knew exactly how many you wanted. You didn't just pull out a random amount.
Yes.
So how did you know how to do that?
So I have a map for each of the beds. So there's 22 pages of maps for all of these.
Wow.
And I follow the maps sort of. And so when there's a bed, this is one of the corner beds of the garden. So I consider it one of the anchor beds. So I do try to follow the map on the anchors as you're walking into the garden. Once it gets to the middle of the garden, then I follow it sort of.
Sort of, yeah.
So since this is a corner, I'm going to try to follow the map. And I do the maps by looking at the photos and the videos that I took the prior year.
Okay.
And seeing, oh, I really love that there. That looked great in the light, or I didn't like that there. So that's why I try to follow. So
okay,
that's
great.
what we got going on in here today.
Great. Now let's see, what do you do next?
The process is, since I like to chunk the things together, right, I'm going to drop all of the plants in where I want to plant them all at once, and then I'll go back in and I'll plant them all.
Makes sense.
All at the same time. So I'm going to do 3 of the sage salvias here. I'm going to do the blue, and then I'm going to do 3 of the sage salvias over there. I'm going to do the red, and then I'm going to drop the zinnias around the perimeter.
Okay.
So that's what I'll do.
Let's do it.
Oh, and I've got my gloves and my hori knife for planting.
Perfect.
So these are the blue ones. So we're going to do 1, 2, 3 here, which that'll be cool with that orange and the blue.
That'll be really pretty.
And the salvia is a little taller, so it'll be kind of that tall blue with that orange on the corner, which should look really nice. And then this red is amazing. So we're going to do 1. I lied, changed my mind. We're going to put them in the corner. 1, 2, 3. So that red will look pretty in that corner. And then I'm just going to drop the zinnias around.
And then you're leaving empty spaces for some of the other annuals that'll come along later?
Correct. We will have some gomphrena, celosia. There's some more marigolds going in. And then I have other annuals to plant in there too. So there's 3 there. I'm gonna do gonna do 2 here, and then 1 here and 1 here. So I'm just kind of finding gaps where I think it'll look good to intersperse them through. So I don't know if my map said to put the zinnias exactly there, but I did know I wanted zinnias around the perimeter.
Great.
So that's how I do it. And then we just go in and
very fun.
Get them all on the ground. What's funny is if I have a lot, so I'm just doing 1 bed right now, but sometimes I'll do multiple beds. And so then I'm dropping them in all over the place. And then I knew I had 12, but I'll have to walk through the garden and find, because they're just little, right? And so I'm like, I'm missing one, and I want to make sure it gets in the ground. So it's like, I'm over here. So the next step now that I've got them laid out where I want to plant them is to get them in the ground.
Okay.
So I've got my gloves, my handy dandy hori knife, and some worm castings.
Oh, nice.
Which is worm poop.
Yeah.
You can get it, I think, at the garden center. We have a local place here in Indianola that grows worm poop.
Oh, great.
And so it's great just to give the plants a good little start,
Sure.
you know, a nice nutritious meal as they go into their new home.
That's a great idea.
So we pull the weed. I plant pretty close to the bed because I want them to spill out. So I'm going right up next to the bed, throw in a little bit of worm poop, and then plant them in the ground. And that's it.
Beautiful.
And then we will water these in. The irrigation runs every day, but I'm going to water these in as soon as we're done just to get them nice and settled in. I don't know what the normal spacing is for plants, but this is probably a little closer together than normally what you would do. But I think it creates weed. I think it creates a bountiful garden. So I like to plant close together.
Lori, I know you have a lot to do around here, but thank you so much for having us out to see what you're doing and how the garden's coming along. And looking forward to more.
Yes, thank you for coming out and checking in on the garden. You're right, there's a lot happening. I can't wait for you to come back sometime midsummer, and
great.
you can see everything that we planted today
Yes.
in full bloom. So it's going to be really cool.
Great,
Thanks for coming out. Thank you.